What's going on, everyone? So, there has been a proposed Portland Trailblazers trade that is making its rounds and some new rumors that have kind of resurfaced. The Portland Trailblazers and the Lakers were heavily linked earlier in the offseason, but kind of cooled off, and we haven't really heard much in that trade front. Primarily because Portland just has like insane asking prices for everybody. I mean, they want 2 firsts just for Jerami Grant. And I mean, even Blazer insiders, like credible Blazer insiders, are like, Portland is being ridiculous. The fact that the Lakers even want to take on his contract and help you clear off a bunch of salary, just give him to the Lakers. But Portland is thus far holding firm. We'll see if that changes at some point, because Jerami Grant, in concept, I do think makes a lot of sense for the Lakers. But there are, just some concerns and things like that. So I figured, why not dive into it? Let's talk about the proposed trade, as well as kind of my thoughts on Jerami Grant and Robert Williams potentially being included in the deal. So here is the proposed trade. The Portland Trailblazers would receive Jalen Hood-Schifino, D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, 2029 first-round pick, top 5 protected, turns into a second-round pick if not conveyed. 2031 first-round pick, top 5 protected, turns into a second-round pick if not conveyed. And then Jerami Grant and Robert Williams would go to the Lakers. Now, in this trade, one, I don't like the 2 firsts. I know that they're top 5 protected. Not really a fan of it. Again, you're taking on such huge risk for both of those guys, and the salary you're taking on, all of that. But let's just kind of go over the rest of it. Let's take out the picks just for a moment, momentarily. Jerami Grant and Robert Williams on the surface make a ton of sense. You get a physical center that can help rebound, block shots, do a little bit of everything out there. Not really an offensive, versatile weapon, but he is a guy that, has shown, some capabilities there on the offensive side, and just kind of gives you what you need there. And then Jerami Grant being a legit 3-and-D wing, he's a guy that is just a better natural 3 than Rui Hachimura. I do think he'd make the Lakers better. I do think that this would be a really solid trade. You're talking about $43 million that would need to go out from the Lakers side of things. And you got D'Angelo Russell at $18.5 million. Jared Vanderbilt is 10, so I get you at $28.5 million. And then you got Gabe Vincent, who is 28. There's 39, and then Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think that's just about right, because it's like 3.3. So yeah, it's about 43 million. Because you got to remember, Lakers have to send out more salary than they take back. They would get to keep Rui Hachimura in this deal, which I do think is interesting. That could be something in and of itself. And you could even take Rui and still go pull off another trade if you needed to. It's kind of hard if you don't have firsts, but you would still have pick swaps. You would have a couple seconds. I don't hate this, because Jalen Hood-Schifino is giving you nothing, right? The Portland Trailblazers, supposedly, they really wanted Jared Vanderbilt in the deal. They're not really big on D'Angelo Russell. They originally wanted Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt for Jerami Grant. So maybe the problem is that you still have to fill out a roster. I guess you're fine, because the Lakers have 15, and you're sending out 4 guys and bringing back 2. And you wouldn't have enough salary to bring a guy in, right? So you'd have to, turn Rui into even less. You'd have to turn Rui into, 15 million, something like that. You'd have to do, a 1-for-1 swap, turn him into 15 million. This type of trade doesn't really quite work the way that we need it to, because, again, Lakers have to maintain 14 players, and you're sending out 4, bringing in 2, which would give you 13, if my math is correct, right? 15 minus 4 is 11, and then add 2 is 13. But let's just break down both Jerami Grant as well as Robert Williams III real quick, right? All the little nuances, maybe throw in a Jackson Hayes and something else, right? Or maybe it's Rui in a couple pieces, and you're keeping D'Lo and maybe unloading D'Lo elsewhere, right? There's still options of flexibility there. Ultimately, the goal is to get Robert Williams as well as Jerami Grant. Here's my problem with those two, is both don't have the greatest injury history. Robert Williams is on a reasonable deal. He's making like 12, just under 13 minutes, like 12.5 million, something like that, in that range. But you got to remember, Lakers have to send out more salary than they take back. But you got like another year on the deal, so like he's fine. It's the Jerami Grant contract is the one that is tough to digest and swallow. Obviously, they make us better. I definitely think we'd be a better team. However, Robert Williams, injury history aside, he's not a 7-footer. He's like 6'9". He has like a 7'2", 7'3" wingspan, but he's 6'9". He is physical. He is big. He is solid, right? He is sturdy. There's definitely worse options out there. If he's kind of like a tack on, sure. I still don't like 2 firsts for this. If you want a first and a pick swap, and we can keep Rui and a first, fine. I would do that all day, right? Because I think at that point it's worth the risk. And then now you can use Rui to go work out whatever trades, whatever moves, and you could even add like a Max Christie. Like there's still, you could get to another like 27 to 30 million if you needed to. So maybe you're going and getting like a Bruce Brown or something like that, right? There's options and flexibility there. However, the other side of it is Jerami Grant is not having a great season. Robert Williams has actually been pretty solid so far. Like Robert Williams is actually having a pretty good run thus far. But the problem with Robert Williams is just his injury history, right? He's not a guy that you can really rely on. I mean, the most games he's ever played in a season is 61 games. He's played 32 games, 29, 52, 61, 35, 6, and 3. Not really a model of health. I mean, the 3 games is this season, but again, Portland's played like 13, I think, already. That's why that number is significant, right? He's played 3, so he's already missed 10 games this season. He's averaging 18 minutes. He's shooting 78.9% from the field. He's actually shooting 50% from three-point range. He actually knocked down a 3 the other night. He scored 19 in that game. He's shooting 82.4% from 2-point range on 5.7 attempts. He has an EFG of 81.6%, which is very, very impressive. Free throws on 1.7 attempts. He has yet to miss a free throw. He's averaging right now, and again, you got to keep in mind 18 minutes of action, which is roughly what you want from the Lakers. It's kind of what the Lakers would be looking for him to do. He's averaging 6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.7 blocks with only 1 turnover and not even half a foul, and 12 points. So he's giving you basically 12, 6, and then 2s across the board is roughly what he's giving. If he could stay healthy, that would be fantastic, right? Like the Lakers that would be great if he could stay healthy. And then, when Anthony Davis gets the night off, you can play him also alongside Anthony Davis, right? Like Robert Williams, the idea of him is great. Again, he's not really a 7-footer, but he gives you what you need. Shot blocking, defense, right? Lob threat, just floor running big. He's physical, right? He gives you kind of all the things that the Lakers need in that regard, right? But can he stay healthy is the problem, right? Like how many games are you going to be able to get out of him? If he could play 60 games and be healthy for the playoffs, then sure, right? Like if you were to go trade for him and he can kind of play the rest of the season and then get to the playoffs and be fine for you, beautiful, right? But then the Jerami Grant side of things. Now, Jerami Grant, again, you're talking about a guy that you're taking on some long-term money for here, right? Like this isn't a guy that's making $15 million a year, right? So he has just under $30 million this year. Then he has $32 million, $34 million, and then $36 million, which you got to imagine he's probably going to opt in because he has a player option for that $36 million, and that's through 2027, 2028. So you're taking on like $90 million in salary over those years. Quite a bit of money, right? But how is he playing? How is he performing? Again, not very good. So far through 13 games, he's averaging 33.4 minutes per game. He is, thus far, shooting 38.5% on 15 attempts per game from the floor. He's shooting 34.4% on just a hair under 7 attempts per game from three-point range. Again, not great. Now, in his defense, last 2 years, he was 40% on 5 not last season, but the previous season, and just under 6 attempts was 40%. So you're hoping that he can kind of get back to that 40% range. If he can do that, that would be huge for the Lakers. But beyond that, he's shooting 41.9% from 2-point range on 8.1 attempts. Again, last 2 years, he shot 47% on 10.6 attempts and then 52.3% on 8.8 attempts. He's a career 50% shooter from 2-point range. You're hoping he can kind of get back to that. If he can get back to 50% from 2 and then also get you 40% from 3, now we're talking. But can he do that? He has an EFG this year of 46.6. Last 2 seasons, he was 52% and then 55%. He is shooting even under, not much, but still on 4.5 free throws a game, shooting under 80% at 79.7%. He is last 5 years, he's been over 80%. He's averaging 4 rebounds, which isn't great, but that's his average. He's averaging 2.2 assists. We'll round up because it's 0.8. 2 steals. He's averaging 1.2 blocks per game, which is actually pretty interesting because if that holds, that's like the 3rd most of his career. 1.5 turnovers, 1.8 fouls, and 17.5 points per game. So his offensive production is basically down across the board. Very different when you're playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis and you're the 3rd option compared to you're pretty much the main option on many nights, most nights for the Portland Trailblazers. One, is that something Jerami Grant would be willing to do? He has been open and talked about how he's fine, he's happy, he's comfortable in Portland. He got his money, he got his bag. I don't think he really cares. Again, not the ideal trade in my opinion. I do like that you get to keep Rui Hachimura. Right? Because Rui off the bench would be great. But chances are you're probably trading him because he's probably not going to he's not going to be super thrilled coming off the bench. If he bought into that 6-man role, that'd be pretty nice. But I just think with his $17 million, I think you should look to trade him. Personally, I think you just take him, you trade him and try to turn him. Can you get him, turn him into, a point of attack guy? Right? Like I said, like a Bruce Brown. Right? If you could have something like Bruce Brown, Austin Reeves, Jerami Grant, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, I think that's a legit championship level starting 5. I think that's one of the best starting 5s in the league. If you can clear a little salary in the process, and maybe you're bringing in like a Quincy Olivari or something like that, and having like Quincy, Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, and a Robert Williams III. All right, now I think you're a championship contender. Now I think you're legit 10 deep. I think you have everything you need. I don't hate it. Right? It's just, would Portland be willing to do that? And would they be willing to do it without 2 firsts? I get that they're both protected firsts, but I just don't. Again, you're doing Portland a huge service. I mean, even Portland insiders are like, please, just take him, right? Because everyone understands Portland messed up on that deal. You're bailing them out of that deal, right? Because, look, D'Lo's an expiring contract. Gabe Vincent only has 1 more year. Jalen Hood-Schifino's an expiring contract, right? And Jared Vanderbilt's a guy that they really like, that they actually wanted in a trade for Jerami Grant. So they're getting a guy that they want. Yes, he's hasn't been a model of health, but neither have Robert Williams and neither are Jerami Grant, right? It's not like Jerami Grant is this guy playing 80 games a season. Right, so you're talking about 2 guys that you're bringing in that aren't these great models of health, right? So to just look at the last few years. He played 54 games last year, 63 games, 47, 54. The last time he played 70-plus games was in 2019-2020, was when he was with Denver. And he played 71 games. Since then, he's basically given you 55 games a season. It's not great. So we're getting a guy that's going to play half the season and then, a little more. Let's call it 60% of the season. He's going to play 60% of the season, and he's going to make $35 million a year going forward. And then Robert Williams is a guy that plays, again, 40 games a year, like literally half the season. If that's a good year for him. So it's just like, there's just too much risk in my opinion. Like, I just think you're better off just being patient, staying the course. If they would do it for 1 first and like a pick swap, then sure. Like if they do it for 1 first and a pick swap, I would take the chance at that point, right? Because I do think that there's some real value there. I do think that at that point, the risk is worth the reward. Plus, you get to keep a Rui Hachimura and a first. You could take that plus, a Max Christie if you needed to and the first. And like I said, go get a Bruce Brown or something and let's go win a championship. That's kind of my thoughts. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. And I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? First off, what do you think of the proposed trade? Again, it's not my proposed trade, right? Not me. I just relaying the news, giving my thoughts and opinions, and passing the question on you. Secondly, what do you think of Jerami Grant and Robert Williams? Do you like it? Do you not? Are you kind of mixed in the middle? Kind of like, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.